Good morning, Israel. All of my brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual, however you may be. Just wanted to say good morning to everybody. It's a rather chilly day in South Florida, 8:10 a.m., 55 degrees, chilly. Had to put on my sweater again today for the morning, so it's okay. But I just hope everybody's doing well. Probably do a lot of more car cams this week. Just a lot going on, putting our Bible studies together, looking at what's going on across the country, this government shutdown. A lot of people may not be impacted, but there are a lot of people who are impacted. A lot of people may not feel it, but there are a lot of people who have been impacted. It's some things like this happen. People try to connect a prophetic word with it, and as we do everything that happens, this is not the first government shutdown. What we're finding is a constant trend when parties switch over and during midterm elections. It seems like government shutdown has become a new platform in which both sides use to hold each other hostage. And that's what we're finding. So it's one of those things that we're starting to see take place a lot more often when it comes to negotiating. There used to be a time that they would negotiate, um, but they use this platform as hostage to force the hand of the other when they want to implement a policy. And that's what happens. So that's what we are experiencing now. We've been experiencing this the last 10 years. This started during the Obama administration. It did happen a few presidents before that, but not as frequent as we're seeing it today. It's just become a frequent situation where it's used more often. Okay. Certain departments within the government get shut down. And when they get shut down, funding stops, the budget. Now, one thing that the government will always do is that they will pass enough temporarily to keep the government going. For instance, certain agencies has to keep operating. So they'll pass enough so that those departments won't get shut down. But for instance, the post office is going to continue to operate. It's going to continue to operate. Federal law enforcement agencies are going to continue to operate. So those things will not get shut down to the point that those type of employees won't get paid or won't be able to do their job. So it's basically what they consider to be non-essential departments is what is impacted. So, and also certain funding is impacted. So those things. So there are people who are working in those non-essential jobs, they can't go to work because there's a shutdown. So they're not able to go. Like federal museums, certain federal parks where they have tours, things like that. They get at a certain level, they're closed down. So that's what happens. So they may have the law enforcement capacity at a natural federal park, but as far as having a tour guide or certain positions that you would see the level of service kind of goes down a little bit. So that's what happens. That's exactly what happens on something like this during this government shutdown. So just wanted to leave that with you. Let's just continue to pray one for another. Let's continue to, we know all things are in the Most High's hands. Everything is in his hands. Everything is in his hands. So that's one of the things we have to realize. Everything is in his hands. It's going to remain in his hands. So we move on, we pray, we stay fasted, we stay prayed up, because we know that certain things, this is a year that a lot of people are watching, and why? That's just what people do at the beginning of the year. A few months in, it gets back to routine. So that's just what happens. So again, if you know somebody that's impacted by that government shutdown, just keep them in prayer. You know, really keep them in prayer, because they're going through. The way the government looks at it, it's a small amount of the workforce, but it is also people, and those people are impacted. They feel it. So, and when they feel it, it's just something that happens. So, it's almost like when in Detroit, when we had the housing breakdown, one of the first signs we saw was the auto industry in Detroit. It collapsed. A lot of people in that industry lost their jobs, and they were impacted, a lot of people. And that's why Detroit today, in certain areas, see entire neighborhoods that are just completely like a ghost town. Homes that are there on the street, grass overgrown, nobody living in those properties, because when that industry collapsed, a lot of those people worked for the auto industry. That was the main workforce there. So when that collapsed, you know, you would never think that everybody in a particular neighborhood worked for the auto industry in some capacity. They did, whether they were a supervisor, whether they were a manufacturer worker, whether they were in design, whatever capacity they were in when the industry shut down. That's why you had entire neighborhoods just collapse. And we're starting to see a lot more of this happen. Amazon just moved they just opened up a large facility here in South Florida, a couple of them, but one of them is real large. I mean, it's humongous. And the amount of employees that they're going to be hiring there, people know each other. People go in, people leave one job and they'll go to that job because maybe the benefits are better. The hourly wage is a few dollars an hour more. Um, and again, like I said, the medical benefits is better. And the opportunities are better because you get in on the ground floor as the company's growing. That leaves you opportunity to go up the ladder a little bit more. So people take advantage of that, and they'll leave their current job and go to that job. But if you know um, the head guy for Amazon is going through a divorce, um, I doubt if it impacts Amazon as an operation, but if it did and places closed down, um, you could see that happen in South Florida because it's going to be a a very large place that will hire people. So just wanted to say that, share that with you, say good morning to all of you wherever you may be at.